This book rocked my world, and I'm going to tell you why you should read it, or I'm just going to tell you like the most important parts because you're not going to read it. It's written by Ellie Mystal, who you may have seen on MSNBC. He also went to law school, but my understanding is he's not a practicing lawyer, but that should not dissuade you from reading this book. It says, a black guy's guide. Well, white people, it could also be read, and you could benefit by reading it too. Very generally, he illustrates why the Constitution is bullshit, and using the Constitution as an excuse for justifying racism or homophobia or sexism is status quo to the Constitution. And he uses things that are in our Constitution right now and also history to illustrate this point. The right and conservatives will always use the Constitution and our forefathers as some sort of excuse, like they were demigods and that they knew everything. And he always brings it back to the fact that these people were slave owners, most of them, and that they were from an ancient time. Why are we listening to people who didn't have science largely, had no technology, had no mass transportation, had really missing fundamental things? I really appreciate that the book uses specificity and uses examples from the Constitution and from our history and from various legal cases to illustrate in a really simple, easily digestible way. And one of the things that rocked my world is confessions. We've all seen Law and Order, white or black people, that the police got them to basically say that they did the crime. He supports this with the Fifth Amendment, which is, no person shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against themselves. All of those people who love to use the current Supreme Court or the current administration as some sort of, authority on all things right and wrong, ruled that segregation should exist. How was this legal? Well, now I'm reading from the book. The court here interprets the Reconstruction Amendments to protect only political rights, not civil rights. That's how they were able to push this law through. What's that saying about history is written by the winners? Yeah, that. So keep that in mind when we're dealing with situations where we're like, but that's not what the law is, or that's not what the government says is right or wrong. So I really appreciated what he talked about in regards to abortion, and I'm going to read a part of that too. The better legal frame is, quote, forced birth is some evil shit that can never be compelled by legitimate government, the end. Something I specifically learned from this book, every single state in the United States had a law making an exception to rape, that it was not in fact rape if it was done by the husband. And marital rape law exceptions didn't come off of the books until 1993. I know, that seems like a long time ago if you're 18 right now, but 1993 wasn't that long ago. I got my copy at the library. I encourage you to read this book, especially if you're white. I think it's going to rock your world. I applaud how much amazing information and really specific tools are included and built into it. But I think the biggest thing I would leave you with is that just because it's a law, just because it's the current opinion of the Supreme Court or administration, doesn't make it right. And I know that's super obvious when it comes to things, for some people, I guess I should say, it's super obvious when it comes to things like equality, but those things were constantly in question. Why are we holding this Constitution as if it is gospel? It is not gospel. It is not word of God. It is normal white men, but more importantly, old white men from an old time where they had limited information. So even as he raises in the book numerous times, which I love, even if they were good white men at the time, they were still not good in comparison to today. So we should stop living chained to these old, biased, racist, idiotic, ignorant belief systems just because that's what our Constitution has in it.